Welcome to Thoughts Roundup. Well, it's almost Christmas. It's getting, as they used to say, Christmassy. And now, Christmas has always been a good time. It really has. Christmas is a time that everyone has always kind of looked forward to. Some for good reasons and some for not. But I don't see any way to look for Christmas except with a good spirit and a good attitude and a love toward mankind, because that's what Christmas is all about. Christmas is a time that people go back in their minds. Yes, I do, you do, I'm suppose most people do. They go back into their minds, in their minds. I go way back to cake baking. My mother started baking cakes long before Christmas. And what we did was how we ate all those cakes. Of course, people visited each other. It wasn't just one person having Christmas. It wasn't just one family, but people visited each other to have this time. And so everyone was showing out their cakes and then people enjoying other people's cooking and apples and oranges. My dad, we didn't have a lot of money, but my dad always bought a crate of apples and a crate of oranges for Christmas. And did we ever eat apples and, and oranges? Christmas was a good time because usually there was no one working. Everyone was off. When I think of Christmas, I think of big fires. I think of at the church a Christmas play. You know, at church they dressed everybody that has a robe now. Be sure and bring it because the wise men have got to have the robes. Those bathrobes, and said now you know they didn't have enough men. Sometimes they had to have some women to be wise men, and so they had moss off the trees and made beards, and so you couldn't tell the difference. And people would come in leaning on their staffs and talking scriptures and talking about the Christ child being born and the star, seeing the star in the east. Big fireplaces at home because it was cold, always seemed like Christmas. And you had to have a big fire because you didn't have heaters in your house. And a big fire rolling. Now we had fireworks for Christmas. We call it firecrackers, fire poppers. And if we didn't hardly have money to buy groceries, we bought fireworks every year. And it sounded like a young war all around us. People just popping those firecrackers, those fireworks. I remember one year Uncle Eugene was bald headed and we had some fireworks that was called Devil Chaser. It made a noise. It just, man, it started running in circles, and it started running in circles around the yard, and it landed on Uncle Eugene's head, and he started running and trying to knock it off because he knew the last thing that piece of fireworks did would pop real big and it explode, and so. But you know, we had those gifts piled everywhere. They went to W.T. Grant's They went to a place called Cress. We call it Cress. I think it was actually Cresskies. And down there, downtown in Alexandria, Louisiana, in Alexandria, they had a window at the department store, and every year they had automated drum bands playing. It had horns. It had a guy sitting there, a fake man beating the drums, and on and on. And everyone had to go, no matter how far they lived from Alexandria, they had to go and look in front of that store. It may have been W.T. Gramps, I don't know, and see the band play. And it would play Christmas songs. But you know what? The Christmas story, in spite of all that was going on, all the gifts, and they had to go to those cheaper stores to buy gifts for everybody, but everybody got 2 or 3 or 4, 5, 6 gifts. It was all such a time, but right in the middle of it all, the main thing was the Christmas story. And when somebody said something about the Lord's birth during that time, it registered. It really did. It registered. And they'd tell us about, and they'd sit us down and read the scriptures and tell us about it. You know, that is a big time, because Jesus Christ split the world half in two. Jesus came to seek and save that which was lost. He came in the virgin birth. He was the only one ever born with his father in heaven and his mother on earth. We talk about him being born in a stable, in a manger. We think of it as like our stables and our mangers were. No, he was born, it was actually a cave. The God who made the universe was born under the floor of the earth. Humbled himself, took on flesh to die on Calvary. What would I say to you right now? How would I close this little segment? I know what I'm going to say. Merry Christmas.